Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I'm really excited about today's video because I'm going to have a look at some TikTok videos on matrix. I've recently come across some of these, and from time to time I see them pop up on different platforms, and to say the least I have not been impressed from what I've seen, so I've decided to go on TikTok myself and to review some of them. And I'm going to be really harsh on them and try and rate them on a scale of 10. So I'm going to look at different stuff that have been viewed a lot and have got lots of likes. And yeah, based on their creativity and the effectiveness, and most importantly, how practical they are, these shortcuts and tricks, I'll be giving them a score. So let's get started. Alright, here's the first TikTok we've got. It's from Brady, your tutor. He's got a lot of following. Let's have a look. Okay, he calls it the butterfly method. 2/3 and 1/4. Okay. Wait, hold on. That's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? But he's done it in a fancy way. So he's basically finding the lowest common multiple and doing converting those fractions so that they have the common denominator and adding them up. It's just that he's not doing it in separate lines. He's just, I guess, you could call it a butterfly or you could call it messy. No. But there's a problem with this. If you do not know the concept, and if you try and you couldn't really apply this to all. So for example, let's say, so let's just come up with 7/12, and I'm gonna say 5/24. If you try to do this, you could do it, but you're gonna complicate things unnecessarily. Your calculations are gonna be larger. 24 multiplied by 7, who knows that? 12 multiplied by 5, that's easy, but at the end, to find the denominator, you have to multiply these two together. But actually, if you know the concept to find the lowest common multiple, you know that it's 24 for 12 and 24. So that makes things easier, and you would get the simplest form, unlike if you do this method. So it doesn't really work out. Another thing where if you do not promote the concept, what happens is students might remember to do that, to draw that butterfly. That's the easy part, right? But they're gonna forget, they're gonna be confused as to what do we multiply by what, and when do we add. I have to add these two, not multiply, and then I have to multiply the denominators. If you're not sure what you're doing, you're gonna get confused, and it's not reliable. I mean, you don't really have to rely on your memory for this one. It's just conceptual. So if I were to give this a score, I would have to go with I'm gonna give it 1 actually. It's not effective, it's not great. Alright, moving on to TikTok number 2. This is from Miguel CP. This is Matric, and it's got 2.7 million likes. That's awesome. Let's see. Okay, he's trying to multiply 7 by 21, 71 by 21. Okay, let's see how it's gonna work it out. Okay. Right, I see what he did. Okay, let me do this. Let's see how I would do it, and let's decide how is it different. 71 multiplied by 21. Okay, so first 1 multiplied by 1, the ones, you multiply the ones, so that's 1. That's the same thing you did there. Okay, next we would go and multiply 1 by 7, 2 by 1, it's 2 tenths multiplied by 1, so that's 20, so that's why we write it in this column. And then 2 multiplied by 7, that's 14. That's what he did over here. That's what he wrote there. Right, and then you add all of these up. 1, 7, and 9, that's what he did. That's his third step, right? He just add that and put it over here. That's what we do here. And then 14. So he just did the same steps. He did it in the same line, but and followed a different order. But he basically did the same operations. And he could do this, especially this one, adding that and putting it over here. That doesn't work all the time. In fact, it only works. This is what he hasn't said over here. It only works if there's two ones over here. If these two digits are one, that's the only time you could do this. Uh, you could just add these two up and write the number here. That's the only time. So, hey, to me, trying to find out a trick to do this where, I mean, the conditions, it's like you have to have two ones, the same number, and there have to be one over here. How practical is that? Why would you need another method for that? You could do the same thing. The only difference is that it takes two more lines. That's it. That's it. So I wouldn't call it a trick. Okay. This, okay. I'm gonna have to use decimals right now. We're gonna go with 0.5 on this one. Yeah, 0.5 out of 10. All right, here's number 3. It says, I wish my teacher taught me this, so I'm really excited about this one. Let's go for it. Okay, trying to multiply 324 by 2 seems kind of straightforward and not that difficult. Let's see if it gets any easier. Oh no, I think I know what's gonna happen. I just hope that's not it. It's, oh my god. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's break down what actually happens here in case you were curious, because it looks like really cool, right? It looks visual and all that. But let me just show you what actually happens. So, you're doubling it. So, so what you're doing is, what she did is, she did 3 lines like that, and then 324, just to represent that, right? So, doubling is like you have 2 of these, right? You know, another 324, right? So I'm gonna do it that way, and then you have 1, 2. I'm gonna count the lines: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we have 6 of them here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 of them. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them here. Okay. So yeah, instead of doing that, instead of drawing 2 other sets of lines, what she did was, let me just draw that line to make sure. What? Okay, you see what she did? She just, it's pretty much the same thing, you know. Okay. So what she did basically did was, like, she doubled the lines, but now you have to count the dots and things like that. But what you did was draw another group of this and then counted all the lines. That's exactly what you did in a really fancy way. I mean, imagine doing this. Okay, let's just make a small change to this number and see how complicated things get. 329. Have a go at that. Have a go at that. What, you're gonna try and draw 9 lines like that? And then, okay, now count. Right. So yeah, she also said, I wish my teacher taught this, and I'm glad my teachers never taught me this. Imagine doing that. 999 by 2. Oh no. I could play a game of tic-tac-toe for like 2 hours if I do that. If I do this, I'll be able to play 2 hours of tic-tac-toe. That's what I could do. Okay, here's the next one. 99% of people don't know this math secret, okay? Very bold statement there. Mind blown. Okay, right. I mean, it's alright compared to what we checked earlier. It's true, and yes, it does make some sense. 50% of 16 is easier if you think of it that way. So that's good. But let's see how much of the time it'll be practical, right? How effective this is going to be. Now, if it wasn't 50, if you're finding 16% of any other number like 16, what are you going to do now? 16% of, give me any other number, 45. 16% of 30. Reversing doesn't help at all, right? It doesn't. Just because it's 50%, it's half, kind of easy. Maybe if it was 25, a little more easier if you knew it was a quarter, but still take some tuition. But I still like it because if you could think of it that way, it's kind of helps. But what happens is 16%, that's 16 out of 100 of 50. So that basically has a denominator of 1. What happens is 16 is the same as this, right? That's what happens when you multiply two fractions. So you could do it that way, or you could do it that way. It still has the same meaning. So I like this trick a little bit. It's not practical. It only works when you have like certain numbers, but it's promoting some sort of concept about multiplying fractions and how it works. So I'm gonna give this a 3. Okay, here's another one from Brady or Tutor. Yeah, I just got hashtag math god. Okay, that's not what we saw from his first one. Right, it looks really, really miserable. I'm curious to see what he found out.
Why didn't we learn this in school?
Down south, hood baby, make all the girls go crazy, go stupid. Look up, down to the side, why got me feeling a little lazy, shuffle. Flex one hand, show the muscle.
Okay, alright, so this video, this one over here, got close to 1 million likes. I'm gonna just do that how we would do it normally. 32 multiplied by 21. Okay, so multiply the ones. 1 multiplied by 2, that's 2. Okay, so he's done 1 multiplied by 2. There you go. I'm gonna mark that one. Then 1 multiplied by 3, that's 3. Okay, he's done that as well. There we go. Right, there we go. That's step number 2. Then we would do 2 multiplied by 2, so that's in the tens column, 4. And then he's done that as well. 2 multiplied by 2, there we go. Step number 3. And then we would do 2 multiplied by 3, which is 6. And then to add all of them up, 7, 6. Okay, so do you see what happened here? Right, he did all the 4 exact same steps that we would do in long multiplication. It looks messy to me. It's just drawn lines like that. It says multiply quick. It's just not any quicker than that. So I really want to know what school he went to. Like, I'm sure they taught him this. So score for that, again, I'm gonna have to give him like 0.5, 0.2 actually. It's you can't call yourself math god doing this. It's not even. It's just the same thing. Here's another one from Pink Pencil Math. Here we're comparing 5/8 and 4/7 to see which one's bigger. All right.
If I asked you which one of these two numbers is bigger, could you tell me in 3 seconds? Here's a simple trick.
Very interesting and strange hand movements there.
How to do this in your head for any fractions. Let's check it out.
Yeah, the keyword any fraction.
Let's compare 5/8 and 4/7. All you need is 2 steps. First, draw a bubble around these two numbers and multiply them, so 5 times 7 is 35. Now draw a second bubble around these two numbers and multiply them, so 4 times 8 is 32. So since 35 is greater than 32, we know that 5/8 is larger than 4/7. Woohoo!
Okay. Yeah, that actually works, and that's pretty much the standard method. If you're only trying to find which one's bigger and you're not trying to show your workings. That's like doing it until the halfway point and stopping there. Because once you've got the numerators, You can forget about the denominators. That should be enough to say which one's bigger, right? But my problem is, just like with the previous one where we were trying to add fractions, that butterfly method. This one's similar. You're just not multiplying the end. It's the same thing, butterfly method if you want to call it, but you're stopping over here. Once you found the numerators, it's enough to find out which one's bigger. So just like with that, if you got a fraction, I'm going to use the same fraction I used there. I think it was 5/12 and 7/24. Oh yeah, something like that. If you get something like this, you're going to be in trouble if you try to use this method. You know, a lot of multiplication where you only had to do, if you knew what the lowest common multiple was, this is the same as 5/12, so you could write it as 24/10 because 24 is the lowest common multiple. Now you can compare 7/24 and 10/24. I mean, the denominators are the same, numerator, so this one's bigger. So which means 5/12 is the bigger one. But if you try to use this method, it's too complicated, too much of math, large calculations. So gonna have to rate this. I'll have to give one not useful. Doesn't work well with all fractions. This one's the last one I've selected, TikTok number 7. I think he's trying to do 231 divided by 5. This one's from tutor Z.
Schools did not teach you this trick. So whenever you're trying to divide a number by 5, all you need to do is multiply the number you're dividing by 5 by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. And then move the decimal in that one place over. So you get 46.2. And that's going to be your answer.
Okay, that's good. That's conceptual. That works. And that works with, you know, any number. You could do this. And the concept behind this, or the logic, is that it's easier to double numbers and to divide and multiply by tens, hundreds, and thousands. You know, you can do that by shifting decimals, and doubling is quite straightforward. What actually happens here is you have 200 and I'm going to write this as a fraction, 231 divided by 5. That's what it looks like as a fraction. So you could find the equivalent fraction by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. I'm going to choose 2 because it's easier to double. What I get is 462 divided by 10. So this fraction over here and this fraction are equivalent fractions. So this will end up giving you that, which is much easier to divide a number by 10. So I wouldn't really promote this, shifting the decimal like that. It's not conceptual because the decimal never moves. The decimal stays like that. What happens is when you divide by 10, the value decreases. So each of these digits move one step, one place to its right because the value decreases. So the digit 2 in the ones column moves to the tenths column. Yeah, that's how we get 46.2. So even though you get the same answer, conceptually the decimal never moves. It's always the value, the digits that move. Alright, but this one is really effective, really helps save time. You could do this mentally rather than using long division. So this one's going to get, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10, easily the highest score today. Yes, that's a review. We've looked at 7 different TikTok math tricks. Can't really say I'm disappointed because going in I had low expectations, but I'm sure out of these thousands of videos there could be math tricks out there that are actually mind-blowing, but today's among the most popular ones. It wasn't to be. Just learning a math trick isn't going to help you out a lot unless you know the concept behind it. And most of the math tricks I use, it could be mental math, it could be advanced math, it could be algebra, anything like that. I use tricks and shortcuts as well. But most of them wasn't taught. We learned the concept, we tried questions, and once we understood the algorithm or the operations and the fundamentals behind it, we found areas where we could simplify things ourselves. We recognized patterns ourselves, and we were able to make links in certain areas, and we were able to simplify it ourselves, which was more effective because I did not have to memorize that trick or that method or that shortcut. And I think that's the best part of learning. So it's not bad to use math tricks. It's great if you have that fundamental knowledge behind you to back you up. So that's it. That's a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any math tricks that you found on TikTok that you think are impressive, let me know. Share the links in the comments. All right then. Have a nice day.